later, everything seemed to have returned to normal. You walk into your college hallway with your usual confidence. As soon as Taeyang and Jimmy spotted you, they bolted toward you and pulled you into a suffocating group hug. When "Hey, let go, I can't breathe," you gasped, painfully pushing them off. "Jimmy, where on earth have you been?" he demanded, sounding genuinely hurt. "We called you 1,000 times, no response, nothing." "Taeyang, your parents told us you were visiting your uncle's house," he added, narrowing his eyes suspiciously. You leaned in, a mischievous grin in your eyes. "When actually I was kidnapped." Jimmy and Taeyang froze. "Wait, what? Tell us everything." As you recounted your ordeal, the secret toy room, the government piece of demands, and your total takeover of the mafia mansion, Jimmy and Taeyang didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It sounded more like a luxury vacation than a kidnapping. "Jimmy, so what's your plan now?" he asked. You sighed dramatically. "Nothing. Everyone has turned against me at home. My dad is so vacation deprived that he won't even buy me a new phone as a punishment." "Don't worry, I will buy you one right now," he offered immediately. "Why, no," you said, a determined look on your face. "I'm going to earn my own money and buy it myself. I have a reputation to maintain." "Jimmy, the professor is here. Let's go to the class," he whispered as the lecture began. Meanwhile, at the mafia mansion, the atmosphere was tense. Jungkook was sitting in the living room, trying to focus on his work, while Namjoon was silently watching the news. Jin and Jkff, however, they were doing their best to be as annoying as possible. "Jin, I'm telling you, the last mission was the absolute best," he said loudly, leaning back. "Jkff, no doubt," he agreed. "It was so adventurous, pure adrenaline." "Jin, I saw a whole new side of people during that mission," he smiled, glancing at Jungkook. "Jkff, and I tasted a whole new level of food," he added, smiling dreamily. Ever since you left, Jin and Jkff had made it their last mission to pester Jungkook. Namjoon stayed quiet, knowing his kidnapping plan was the reason for this current chaos, and he didn't want to be the next target of Jungkook's wrath. Suddenly Jungkook walked in and muttered, "Jungkook, shut up, wine." Jin gasped, "Wine? Did she come back? Where is she?" "Jkff, I didn't see her anymore," he added, looking around frantically. Jungkook slammed his laptop shut. "Jungkook, shut up. Even she is not here. You two are definitely the male version of Wine. Can't you stay quiet for 5 minutes? I can't get a single thing done because of your constant yapping." Jungkook stood up and stormed out of the room in a huff. "Lindsay," he whispered as soon as the door slammed. "Ever since she left, he is back to being a grumpy old man. He is totally cranky." "Namjoon, we need to do something," he said, finally joining the conversation. "Jkff, why don't we just talk to him directly?" he suggested. Jin, "Yeah, he needs to admit it. He actually likes wine." "Exactly. Just go and confront him." A voice mumbled from the corner. The three of them jumped and looked at the sofa. Suga was sitting there, one eye open. "Jin, wait. Weren't you asleep this whole time?" he asked. Suga, "Nope, I heard everything," he yawned. Jkff, "Of course you did." He rolled his eyes. "You only wake up when there is drama to join." "Namjoon, let's go," Namjoon said, standing up. "No more games, let's talk to him." The four of them marched toward Jungkook's room. "Jungkook, come in," he called out. The four of them filed into the room. Jungkook eyed them suspiciously, his guard up. "Jungkook, alright, out with it. What do you all want?" Jin and Jkff suddenly found the floor very interesting, avoiding eye contact. Namjoon looked at the others, waiting for someone to speak, but when nobody did, he stayed silent too. Finally, Suga broke the ice with the trademark smartness. "Suga, Jungkook, we know your secret." Jungkook jumped, his heart skipping a beat. "Wait, do they know about the Iron Man room?" the secret toy bunker. He panicked internally. Suga, you will like wine, he added calmly. Jungkook let out a massive sigh of relief. Thank God, it's just that. Jungkook, wait, how did you guys find out? Jin let out a squeaky laugh. Jin, oh come on boy, we weren't blind. Jungkook, okay fine, he admitted, rubbing the back of his neck. But I have no idea if she feels the same way. She probably hates my guards. Namjoon, then let's test her, he suggested, his brain finally clicking into gear. Jungkook, how, he asked. The room went silent as everyone started thinking. Suddenly Jkff snapped his fingers. Jkff, let's make her jealous. We show up with another girl, act all lovey-dovey and see if she blows a fuse. But where do we find a girl we can trust for this? Everyone's eyes slowly turned toward Jkff. Jkff, no way, absolutely not. He backed away. So what you are doing it, he said firmly. It was your idea, so you were the leading lady. Despite his desperate protest, they forced Jkff into a wig, a dress and enough makeup to be seen from space. Jkff inner was born. At the restaurant, you Jimin and Taeyang were busy working. Suddenly two customers walked in, and Igor's jaw nearly hit the floor. It was Jungkook, and he wasn't alone. He was accompanied by a woman who was practically glued to his arms, acting incredibly dramatic and clingy. Jungkook put out a chair with exaggerated gallantry. Jungkook, please sit down, baby. Jihopina sat down with a flourish. Jihopina, thank you, baby, she squealed, reaching out to pinch Jungkook's cheeks. Jungkook winced but tried to look blushful and in love. The girl picked up the menu, pouting. Jihopina, nothing on this menu looks good enough for me, sweetheart. Jungkook, don't say that, sweetheart, he replied, his voice dripping with fake honey. Look closer, I'm sure you will find something as love as much as I love you. From across the room, he was vibrating with pure and exaggerated rage. You gave a good nothing so hurt that it was a miracle it didn't tear in half. Your eyes were narrowed into slits, shooting imaginary daggers at the back of the girl's head. Jungkook, Miss, he called out, waving a hand toward you. You take a deep breath, force your face into terrifying sleep. Professional smiled and rushed over to the table. While welcome to our restaurant, sir, you said, your voice straight through gritted teeth. Jungkook, so what are you having, baby? He asked, leaning in with a sickeningly sweet smile. Jihopina, no, you decide, Pookie. The girl replied, batting her fake eyelashes. Jungkook, oh come on, honey bunch, you choose, he insisted. The two of them kept up this kinky performance and stood there, feeling your blood pressure rise with every baby and Pookie. You was beyond irritated. Well, sir, you erupted, your voice tight with forced politeness. Since you clearly can't make up your minds, I will just bring our chef special. You will love it. Without waiting for an answer, you pivoted on your heel and marched away from me. From a hidden corner of the restaurant, Jin, Soga, and Namjoon were watching the whole scene, struggling to keep their laughter quiet. Meanwhile, at the table, Jihok whispered through gritted teeth, Jihok, my head is itching like crazy under this wig. Jungkook shut up and entered it for a few more hours, he hissed back. Jihok, I can't, this taste is too tight. He grumbled and the two of them started a subtle awkward shoving match under the table. In the kitchen area, he was plating the food with aggressive energy. Then, is that the famous Jungkook? He whispered, peeking through the service window. Jiminya, but who is the girl? He wondered aloud. Is that his girlfriend? Crying, you slammed the tray onto the counter. Jimin and Taeyang instantly were silent, terrified of the fire in her eyes. He grabbed the tray and stormed back to the table. When you arrived, you saw Jungkook and the girl practically leaning into each other. You set the dishes down with a heavy thud. Wine. Enjoy your meal, sir, you said with a plastic smile and immediately turned to leave. But Jungkook wasn't done. He picked up a spoonful of food and handed it to the girl's mouth. Jungkook, open wide, sweetie pie. Vivian took the bite and then returned the favor, feeding Jungkook back. You watched it from a corner of your eye. Your hand clenched into fist. Oh, you want to play that game, you thought suddenly. A brilliant and slightly chaotic idea popped into your head. You must it over to Jimin. When Jimin, you need to act as my boyfriend right now. Jimin, wait, what? But you didn't wait for his reply. You grabbed his arm and dragged a very confused Jimin toward the center of the restaurant, right in front. Jungkook's line of sight. When, oh honey, you hurt your hand, let me see. You cried out, your voice dripping with fake concern as you grabbed Jimin's hand. Jimin catching on instantly, wheezed dramatically. Jimin, ah, easy babe, it stings. You held his hand tenderly, blowing on it as if he had survived a battlefield. Why, they bring some ointment for my baby right now. He is in so much pain. Ian gave them a look of pure disgust and muttered something under his breath and thrust away to get the cream. Why, does it hurt a lot, babe? You could. Loud enough for the entire restaurant to hear. Jimmy, yes, babe, it's agonizing. He replied, trying his best not to burst out laughing. When they returned with the ointment, he began applying it with exaggerated care, staring defiantly in Jungkook's direction. At the table, Jkff whispered frantically, Jkff, wait, Wine has a boyfriend, since when? Jungkook didn't answer. His face had turned a dangerous shade of red, and his eyes were burning with jealousy. He was gripping Jkoff's hand so hard that the girl started whimpering. Bro, let go of my hand, you are crushing it. He is. Jacob didn't say a word. He stood up abruptly and marched straight toward him. Why is walking Jimin? You whispered seeing her approach. But before you could say another word, Jacob raised her, grabbed your waist and pulled you into a sudden passionate kiss. The entire restaurant went silent. Even Super Jean and Namjoon rushed inside, their jaws dropping at the scene. When he finally broke apart, you gasped, trying to catch your breath. When, how dare you? You have a girlfriend sitting right there, and you kiss another girl. Jungkook, and how dare you touch another man right in front of me? He roared back. Fine, I will do it 100 times if I want. I can do whatever I want, you shouted. Jungkook, no you won't. Fine, you stay for me. Turn your anger toward the other woman. You ran at Jihopina. You tried to both, but it was faster. You grabbed a handful of her hair and pulled. The whip came right in front of her hand. She Papa, you screamed, staring at the ball cap head in front of you. She gave a sheepish terrified grin. Jihab, yeah, it's me. Please don't hit me. Well, so this was all a drama just to make me angry. You looked around the guys who were all looking very deeply. Jagopal listened to me, he continued, but he was already storming out of the restaurant in a rage. Jagop chased after you. Jagopal, stop, I only did because I love you. You froze in your tracks. Jagop walked up to you, beat this. Jagopal was scared, he admitted, his voice softened. I thought he would just make fun of me if I told you. I needed to know if you felt the same way when I love you. He stood closer, searching your eyes. For a long moment, silence stretched between you two. Then Jacob leaned in and kissed you again, and this time you kissed him back. When finally put away, you looked up at him. Well, I love you too. Jkff ready? He asked. His voice smiling across his face. He nodded, smiling back. Jkff laughed and pulled him into a tight warm hug. A few minutes later, Jkff showed up at Earth's house completely unannounced. He wasn't there for a mission or a kidnapping this time. When Earth's father saw Jkff standing at his door, he immediately went on defensive. Mr. Kim, what now, Mr. Jeon? Her front of new screen, jeonjungkookff. Jkff stepped forward, looking unusually nervous. He cleared his throat and stopped the older man mid-sentence. Jungkook, sir, I'm not here for a deal. I'm here to ask for one silent marriage. The silence had followed us brief, followed by a sudden explosion of joy. Your parents was absolutely ecstatic. The idea of you finally getting married and becoming someone else's responsibility was a dream come true for them. Mrs. Kim, oh, marvelous, wonderful. Your mother cried out, beaming with joy. To celebrate, they immediately ushered Jungkook and his crew, Jim, Suga, Jkff, and Namjoon, into the dining room. They started bringing out plate after plate of heavy homemade food. Mrs. Kim, eat more, she insisted, putting mountains of rice and curry onto their plates. Jean, who usually loves food, looked at his third helping of heavy pudding and whimpered, Jean, ma'am, I am actually quite full. Mrs. Kim, nonsense, you are a growing man. Have another pudding, she insisted, shoving more food toward him. Suga looked like he was about to pass out into his gravy, and Jkff, who was on verge of tears, clutching his stomach. Jungkook was sweating, trying to smile while forcing out another spoonful of spicy curry. He looked at his hands, who were all in a state of food coma, measuring their face pale. Namjoon, please sir, no more, she whispered, looking at a giant bowl of sweets being brought toward him. But your parents were on a mission. They keep serving, keep smiling, and keep feeding them until the mighty mafia crew was practically begging for mercy. Upstairs, he watched the scenes from the balcony, laughing. Your head of one, where is Jungkook, whispered. He wanted to join the family. Welcome to the madness. The big day finally arrived. The valley was transformed into a fairy tale setting, draped in cascading white roses and shimmering fairy lights. Jkff stood at the altar, looking sharp and incredibly handsome in his tailored black tuxedo. Despite being a man who faced danger without blinking, his hands were trembling slightly as he waited for the woman who had turned his world upside down. Then the doors opened. A soft melody began to play as you appeared, walking down the aisle, holding your father's arm. You looked breathtaking, a vision of pure elegance in a stunning, intricately lace embroidered gown that sparkled under the chandeliers. You waited behind you like a cloud, and your eyes glowing with a mixture of mischief and love. As you reached the altar, your father placed your hand in Jungkook's. He could not take his eyes off you. For a moment, the world allowed you to vanish. He leaned in and whispered, Jungkook, you look beyond beautiful. The ceremony was intimate and deeply romantic. When both exchanged vows, the air was thick with emotion. Jkff promised to protect you forever, and he promised, with a prayerful ring, to keep his life interesting. As the priest declared you to husband and wife, Jkff pulled you close and kissed you, sealing a bond that was part mafia drama and part pure magic. The romantic bubble lasted exactly 10 minutes. As they set the grand reception table, you leaned forward, Jungkook, pulling out a long, folded piece of paper from your bouquet. When I saw about the honeymoon, you started, your eyes glittering with excitement. I have made a list. I want a private villa in Maldives, a shopping spree in Paris, especially the limited edition designer bags, private yacht for a sunset dinner, and oh, I definitely need the new diamond set we saw in the catalog. Jungkook's romantic smile slowly faded, replaced by a look of sheer panic. He looked at his fan cap in his mind and felt a metaphorical tear roll down his cheek. He was the mafia king, but he was currently being conquered by a shopping list. George's parents sitting nearby watched the scene and started laughing uncontrollably. They knew exactly what Jungkook was going through, and they were just happy it wasn't their problem anymore. Leaning against the pillar with his arms crossed was Jungkook's flame crying face and shook his head. Sugar poor boy, he muttered with a smirk. He survived gang wars, but he won't survive my honeymoon demands.